Hare Krishna. Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome back everybody to our daily Gita classes. We are going to be continuing our discussion on chapter number 1 entitled Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra, and we are going to be discussing text number 46, the last text of the chapter. Okay? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay. So, Sanjay Uvacha.
Sanjay Uvacha.
Evam Uktvārjuna Sankhe.
Evam Uktva Junashankhe.
Rato Pashta Upavishat.
Rato Pashta Upavishat.
Vrishrijya Sasharam Chapam.
Vishrijya Sasharam Chapam.
Shoka Samvigna Manasa.
Shoma Samvigna Manasa.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Evam Uktvārjuna Sankhe.
Evam Uktva Junashankhe.
Rato Pashta Upavishat.
Rato Pashta Upavishat.
Vishrija Sharam Chapam.
Vishrijya Sasharam Chapam.
Shoka Samvigna Manasa.
Shoka Samvigna Manasa.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Evam Uktva Arjuna Sankhe.
Evam Uktva Junashankhe.
Rato Pashta Upavishat.
Rato Pashta Upavishat.
Vishrija Shasaram Chapam.
Vishrijya Sasharam Chapam.
Shoka Samvigna Manasa.
Shoka Samvigna Manasa. Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Evam Uktva Arjuna Sankhe. Evam Uktva Arjuna Sankhe. Yatha Upasta Upavishat. Yatha Upasta Upavishat. Visrijya Sacharam Chapam.
Vishrija Shasaram Chapam.
Shoka Samvigna Manasa.
Shoka Samvigna Manasa. Sanjaya Uvacha. Evam Uktva Arjuna Sankhe. Rato Pashta Upavishat. Vishrija Shasaram Chapam. Shoka Samvigna Manasa.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Evam Uktva Arjuna Sankhe.
Evam Uktva Arjuna Sankhe.
Rato Pashta Upavishat.
Rato Pashta Upavishat.
Vishrijya Sasharam Chapam.
Vishrija Shasaram Chapam.
Shoka Samvigna Manasa.
Shoka Samvigna Manasa.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Evam Uktva Sankhya.
Evam Uktva Arjuna Sankhe.
Rato Pasta Upavishat.
Rato Pashta Upavishat.
Visrajay Sasaram Chapam.
Vishrija Shasaram Chapam.
Soka Samvigna Manasaha.
Shoka Samvigna Manasa. Sanjaya Uvacha. Evam Uktva Arjuna Sankhe. Rato Pashta Upavishat. Vishrija Shasaram Chapam. Shoka Samvigna Manasa. Sanjaya Uvacha. Evam Uktva Arjuna Sankhe. Rato Pashta Upavishat. Vishrija Shasaram Chapam. शोकसंविघ्नमानसा Sanjay Uvacha Evam Ukvajuna Sankhe Rato Pashta Upavishat Vishrija Shasharam Chapam Shoka Samvigna Manasa Sanjaya Uvacha Evam Ukvajuna Sankhe Rato Pashta Upavishat Vishrija Shasharam Chapam Shoka Samvigna Manasa Sanjaya Uvacha Evam Ukvarjuna Sankhye Rato Pashta Upavisat Vishrija Shasharam Chapam Shoka Samvigna Manasa. Okay, what for translation? Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjay said. Evam thus. Uktva saying. Arjunaha Arjun. Sankhye in the battlefield. Ratha of the chariot. Upaste on the seat. Upavishat sat down again. Vishrija putting aside. Sasharam along with arrows. Chapam the bow. Shoka by lamentation. Samvigna distressed. Manasa within the mind. Okay, so translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Sanjay said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. Purport. While observing the situation of his enemy, Arjuna stood up on the chariot, but he was so afflicted with lamentation that he sat down again, setting aside his bow and arrows. Such a kind and soft-hearted person in the devotional service of the Lord is fit to receive self-knowledge. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the first chapter of the Shrimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So this verse is very, very important as well. This is Sanjay Uvacha Evam Uktvarjuna Shankera Topashta Upavishad Vishrija Shasharam Chapam Shoka Samprigna Manasa. So in this verse, Prabhupada has written of what is the condition of Arjuna. So he's saying that Arjuna is a very kind and soft-hearted person in the devotional service of the Lord. In the devotional service of the Lord, is fit to receive self-knowledge. So Prabhupada has written about Arjuna in two different ways. First, he said that Arjuna is under illusion and lamentation, and then he is saying that, oh, he's also a soft-hearted person and a devotee of the Lord. So if you're a devotee of the Lord, there is no question of you being in illusion. So it looks very contradictory. So let us understand how Srila Prabhupada is trying to explain these two different aspects of Arjuna. So the first aspect is thinking is he is illusioned, therefore his thinking is wrong. When you are under illusion, you are thinking that what is not right is right. And on the other side, he is also a devotee. So a devotee means he knows that who is the highest and who is belongs to and what he has to do. So these two don't go well together. So how to understand the understanding of Prabhupada in different verses that he said in chapter 1 on Arjuna's stance. So there are two aspects. One aspect is Arjuna's contemplation, and the other aspect is Arjuna's disposition. So Arjuna's contemplation is that he is giving so many reasons for not fighting, and they're very sound reasons. They make a lot of sense. But all of these reasons are coming from a place of self gratification. He's looking at it that what am I to gain from this? He's thinking that if I win the kingdom, yeah, I will win the kingdom, I will win all the riches. But am I really going to win in life? Am I really going to find pleasure in this life? And if I don't fight, will I get more pleasure in not fighting? So this is what he is understanding: to fight or not fight, but on the basis of where will I get more pleasure. So it's very self-centered, very self-gratifying, and this is what Prabhupada is condemning. He is condemning this aspect of Arjuna's contemplation. Now his disposition is very nice because he is of a very soft-hearted nature. He is naturally feeling very compassionate, and because he is able to perceive the consequences of the war, he says to Krishna that the other side are not able to understand the consequences of the war because their minds are overcome with lobha, with greed. But I don't have such greed. I can see what the consequences of this war will be like. And so this is because he is he is able he is naturally a good person. So and he is naturally what we call, or what we'll understand in the Gita, is under the mode of goodness. That when a person is under the mode of goodness, he is naturally able to think long term. He is able to sacrifice himself for the benefit of others. These are all characteristics of a person who is considered to be a good person. So it is actually very good that there are three modes: mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness. And depending on where you are in the modes, it shows how selfish you are or how selfless you are. A person in the mode of ignorance is completely in a very selfish mode. He's thinking of everything in this world to be his rightful assets for him to exploit, for him to benefit from it. This is a person who is in the mode of ignorance. It's what we can understand in a scale, that from selfishness all the way to selflessness. So if you go from the mode of ignorance over and over and becoming purified, you are able to become more and more selfless. You'll be able to become more selfless. And coming to the point of Arjuna, Arjuna was willing to give up his life. He says in the last verse And it's better that if my enemy kills me unresisting and without wielding weapons, he is showing his nature in the mode of goodness, that I am willing to sacrifice my life for this. Okay, I don't want to fight. But the problem is that if you're within the modes of nature, even your selfishness or selflessness is ultimately still under the control of selfishness. It's not 100% selfless. So this is like, so if you want to go to spirituality, spirituality means 100% selflessness, and less than 100% selflessness, that is within the modes. Okay, and if you're in the mode of goodness, you're very close to 100%, but not actually at 100%. So this is like going to trying to board an aeroplane. An aeroplane, we want to go from here to Nairobi. Now from here, it's very difficult because we are in the temple. We are not at the place where the plane will take off from. If you want to board the plane, you have to go where? To the airport, right? So we are very far away from the airport. So if you are here, and then if you go into in a car towards the airport, and then when we are at the airport, which gives us the best result of getting onto the plane, the best chance of getting onto the plane? Where is the best chance of getting onto the plane? At the airport. But if you go to the airport and you don't actually get onto the plane, so does it really matter whether you're at the airport or in the car traveling to the airport or you're here in the temple? Does it really matter if you do not even board the plane? So this is how we understand it. That whether you are very far away, closer or closest, if you do not board the plane, then it's pointless. You're not getting the result of it. So if you want to become truly selfless, that is not in the domain of this material jurisdiction. It's not there within the material world to be selfless, because we are put here because we were selfish. So if you're still stuck here, that means there is still some lingering aspects of our selfishness. That is why in our scriptures it is said that only the bhakta can be considered to be 100% selfless, not the jnanis, not the yogis, not the karmis. None of them can be considered to be 100% selfless. Only the bhaktas can be understood to be 100% selfless. Now we can understand that Prabhuji, like Arjuna, was with Krishna, so he could have a relationship with Krishna. Actually, he does have a relationship with Krishna. But what about us? How are we able to have a relationship with Krishna? So Srila Prabhupada in the Gita shows us how to have a relationship with Krishna and a reciprocative relationship. The first step into creating a relationship is to first of all understand the person with whom we want to create a relationship with. So just like if there's a boy and a girl, and how will a boy actually start loving a girl? How will he start having feelings for the girl? The boy will start having feelings for the girl when, one, he sees her, but say that is not possible. Say that he cannot see. Think about maybe 50, 60 years ago when people are getting married and they did not even know who their wife was going to be. So how would they get convinced that this girl who I'm going to get married to is going to be good for me? Well, they will hear from the parents. The parents will say that, oh, we have met the girl, we have seen the family background, we have seen that we have heard and seen all these characteristics that this girl has, and based on what they hear from the parents, the boys hear from the parents, they get, okay, maybe this girl is good for me. Then it starts with some interest that let me learn more, let me hear more about her. By hearing more about the person who you want to have a relationship with, that will naturally inundate you with more and more feelings towards that person. And so Prabhupada says that the first way, if you want to understand and build a relationship with Krishna, first hear his words. Hear his words, say his name. Yeah, all of these are practical steps that we can take to start building our relationship with Krishna. And if you have noticed, relationships, the quality of a relationship will depend on how much we are able to sacrifice in it, and also able to understand how much the other person is sacrificing for us. So it goes two ways. It's always in a give and take relationship. If there's one person who is keeping on giving, sacrificing himself in giving themselves to the relationship, and this other, the receiver, is not actually acknowledging this efforts that are being put by the person giving all the efforts, what type of person would you call that? A very, huh? Very selfish person, very selfish. And this is what we are doing. We are not realizing that our entire existence is because of the mercy of Krishna. He is giving us everything. Everything that we need for existence is provided by him. All of it will be explained in the Gita, and we are unaware of this fact, and we go up to the point of saying that we don't even require, we don't even believe that he is existing. So imagine how selfish are we, right? But now let's try to improve that relationship. That we start, first of all, acknowledging that, okay, that Krishna is giving us everything, Krishna is the source of everything. Let us start by showing our gratitude. And when we start showing our gratitude and start to offer our service to him, that builds slowly, slowly the steps of a relationship. And then we'll realize how reciprocative Krishna actually is with us. Right? So, relationship quality depends on how much you are able to sacrifice in it. And so, as I said, that when there is a question of sacrifice, it automatically means that there is a bit of selflessness. You are prioritizing another person's well-being over your own, right? So relationships which are 100% selfless are the ones that are 100% pure. And so these 100% selfless relationships are only possible in the transcendental world. They are not possible here in the material world because we are afflicted by the modes. It's only when we transcend the modes are we able to understand full selflessness. Are we experiencing full 100% selflessness? And this understanding is the most confidential part of the Gita. And most people don't understand this secret of the Gita, that the whole Gita is meant for us to revive this 100% selfless relationship with Krishna. People will just read the first chapter of the Gita and will be like, okay, what Krishna is saying doesn't make sense. What Arjuna is saying makes a lot of sense. So Arjuna is such a good person, Krishna is a bad person, and then they write entire commentaries trying to prove Krishna's words wrong and trying to prove Arjuna's words right. Okay, it's because they don't understand this most confidential most confidential plan of the Gita. So and because they don't understand, most people don't understand the truth of the Gita, they are also not able to understand the actions of a devotee. A person who has actually understood the Gita, and when they live the Gita, and when they act in the world with that knowledge, other people will misunderstand. And other people will not be able to comprehend how is this a person who is following the Gita's knowledge, right? So Prabhupada writes this very nicely in I think it's purport to chapter 2, verse number 69. Krishna says that what is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. So from this one verse, we will see how devotees are at complete different wavelength than the normal people in this world who are afflicted by the modes. They are not able to understand each other. It's like people outside, they are thinking that the people inside the temple are wasting away their lives. And the people inside the temple are thinking that the people outside the temple are wasting their lives. It's completely opposite. And this is because the pure devotees are prepared to do all works and are willing to be misunderstood by the world if it means that it will please Krishna. When devotees act, it's very difficult to understand the plans of the devotees because you don't know what is the plan of Krishna. If you don't even know the plan of Krishna, how are you going to know the plan of the devotees? It's very difficult. And the example of this is Bhishma Dev in the Mahabharata. So Bhishma Dev's story, people feel have got a very misunderstanding or misconceptions of Bhishma Dev. Actually, if you want to summarize it in one sentence, it is that man has misunderstood, but God has understood. He has understood the heart of Bhishma Dev, and the entire world does not understand the heart of Bhishma Dev. And actually, if you think about it, Bhishma Dev was even more fortunate than Arjuna in the battlefield, because Arjuna was only seeing the back of Krishna, because he's standing behind and firing. He's only seeing the back of Krishna. But Bhishma Dev is getting the front face view, face to face view. He can see how beautiful Krishna's face is. Actually, this is what he says in his stuti, Bhishma Stuti in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that I remember your face that is being decorated by beads of sweat, and it's full of the dust that have been raised by the hoofs of the horses of the chariot that he's driving. And this form of Krishna is so pleasing to Bhishma Dev. It was giving him so much pleasure. Also, Bhishma Dev was giving more pleasure to Krishna, and the pleasure that Krishna wanted from Bhishma Dev was of Virya Ras. So we would understand, oh, but Krishna has fought many demons. Why could not he get Virya Ras there? Because the demons are there in approaching him to kill for an ulterior motive. They were not a pure intention. But Bhishma Dev was doing it only for the pleasure of Krishna. So it's a very pure motive. And that is why when Krishna wants to fight, even he can only fight with his devotees. Because only the devotees are the ones who are able to give him the rasa. Yeah? So that is why Bhishma Dev's position is so much exalted. And more so, Bhishma Dev is more fortunate and considered a very great devotee. Actually, is considered as one of the 12 Mahajans. Mahajans mean the perfect devotees. Like they're like the standard bearers of devotion. Why? Because he was practicing bhakti in an environment which was completely materialistic. He was surrounded by Dhritarashtra, Duryodhan, Shakuni, and yet he was true to his principles of doing bhakti. The same story comes in the Ramayana. When Hanuman was flying over in Lanka and he was searching frantically, where can I find Mother Sita? Where can I find Mother Sita in this place of demons, in this kingdom of demons? And he was looking around, and then he saw one house, and he saw tulsi leaf there, a tulsi plant. And he said, Tulsi? In Lanka? This is unheard of. So he immediately went to that house. Can you guess whose house that was? Vibhishan. And when Hanuman saw Vibhishan, he was glorifying Vibhishan. He's like, you are such a great devotee of Lord Ram that you are showing your devotion to him even though you're surrounded by demons and you're surrounded by materialists. And Vibhishan, being so humbled by this glorification of Hanuman, he started glorifying Hanuman even more. That, oh, I am nothing compared to you. I'm stuck here. I'm not able to serve Lord Ram. But you are becoming the foremost servant of Lord Ram. Look at how much he's depending on you. Look at how much you have served Hanuman. You've served him by doing a lot of things. And he's trusted you with his most important service of finding Mother Sita. Like imagine how much he trusts you. So Vibhishan was glorifying Hanuman. Hanuman is glorifying Vibhishan, and it goes on and on and on and on. And this is what happens. This is the selflessness in the devotee circles, that they are always thinking that everyone else is more elevated than myself. So just think about that. That sort of behavior is very, very abnormal in this day and age, where people are so selfless, so humble that they are keeping on praising other people on their service to the Lord. Here, if we do even a small thing, or we say, "Oh, look how much we have done. Look, everyone should praise me." You see, this is like completely different. So this is what we have to understand. And another thing is, Arjuna also did things in the war that people will look at it and think that, how is he a follower of Dharma? Like when Arjuna had blindly followed Krishna's order to kill Karna. Uh, Here Arjuna in the last verse is saying that I would rather die unresisting and without weapons. And when Arjuna killed Karna, did Karna have any weapons on him? No. Was Karna unresisting? Yeah, in a way it was, because he was trying to remove the chariot wheel from the mud. So he wanted to stop Arjuna. Don't kill me. Give me the chance to fight you fairly. But Krishna said, no, you must kill him right now. And Arjuna followed blindly. And people who think of this are like, how can Arjuna be an upholder of Kshatriya Dharma when he's going against the codes of Dharma, of the Kshatriya Dharma? But because Krishna had ordered it, that instruction became devotional service. And when Arjuna followed it, instead of being criticized, he got glorified. Now reverse the situation, that during the Mahabharata war, Yudhishthir Maharaj was told by Krishna, say the lie that Ashwatthama has died. And Yudhishthir Maharaj hesitated because he valued honesty and truthfulness greater than the words of Krishna. And so what ultimately happened is that before the war, because Yudhishthir Maharaj had never said a lie up to that point, and his chariot was floating in the air, like 1 feet above the ground. The chariot did not even touch the ground. But because he hesitated, immediately it fell down into the ground. Now his chariot was not floating, it was on the ground. And because of this also, at the end of it is said that he had to witness the scenario of hell just because of this hesitancy of not following Krishna's order. So we can see completely opposite. You'd think that, oh, Yudhishthira Maharaj is such a good person. He is not willing to say any lies. Isn't that considered to be very good? Isn't that considered to be the right standard of religiosity? And here Arjuna killing Karna without any Kshatriya codes, and he's being glorified and not criticized. So see, this sort of things doesn't make sense to a normal person. It's because they don't understand that Krishna is the source of everything. So if Krishna says something, that automatically becomes the right thing to do. It's because it is said that there is so many types of different dharma. And I said this before, that there are 3 levels. There's one is adharma, meaning irreligiosity. Then there's paradharma and aparadharma. Aparadharma is moral understanding of religiosity. It is what we understand as to be good and right. But higher than this is paradharma. That is what Krishna tells you to do, because he is the father of religion. It is said, Prabhupada says that on this battlefield, the father of religion, Krishna himself, is present. He is directing. And he said, Krishna said in the 4th chapter, that I come down, my purpose for descending is so that I can re-establish dharma. So how can the father of religion even propose an irreligious principle? It's impossible. Whatever he says becomes the code, and the entire chapter is to try to understand how that is the case. The whole of the Gita, sorry.
Transcendental religious
Yes.
principle he wanted to establish.
Established.
Not the ordinary religion.
Yes.
That is the
Yes.
Gita showing the love of God.
Exactly. So this whole first chapter, when an ordinary person comes across it, he will be bewildered. He'll be like, it doesn't make sense to me. But the first chapter is so important because it is defining what is a problem. It's defining that the problem is our self-centeredness. It is our understanding that we are ultimately, whatever makes sense to us is right. We are not willing to surrender to a higher authority, right? So this verse basically highlights that one has to that for one to become a recipient of self-knowledge, one must at least be in the mode of goodness, which facilitates one to think of others and has the attitude of sacrificing oneself for the pleasure of others. Now Gita will actually show that Krishna is the one that should be the target of our sacrifice. We should not make our own self-made understanding of who should I sacrifice for. Yesterday in the question and answer session, this point was being raised that if even if a person sacrifices himself for his family, for his business and everything, ultimately that is not the highest form of sacrifice. The highest form of sacrifice is sacrificing yourself towards Krishna. And the whole Gita will explain why this is so. Krishna will make his position very clear, and he will destroy each and every argument that Arjuna has raised in the first chapter, because Arjuna's logic is very sound, but his logic is sound looking at it from only a fragmental view of reality, not from the universal view of reality. When you look at the universal view of reality, those same sound arguments will turn to be very unsound. It will turn out to be not making sense at all. So, as I said, that even if one is in the mode of goodness, you will eventually face frustration in your efforts to be here. And it is also explained that there's no point in being in the mode of goodness, because being in the mode of goodness is like being shackled by a golden chain. Okay, ignorance, you're shackled with a iron chain. Then you go to passion, it's maybe with a silver chain. And in goodness, it's you're shackled in a golden chain. But the question is, you're still going to be shackled. Doesn't matter what your position is, you're still shackled. So there's never going to be a possibility for you to be completely selfless here and become happy, because that's just not going to work. And this point, this juncture of trying to sacrifice yourself for everything, you are trying to be selfless, very good. But who are you trying to be selfless for? You are trying to be selfless for people and things which are temporary in nature. And because they're temporary in nature, ultimately you will be faced with frustration. You will be faced with misery. And at this point is what Arjuna has reached. He is thinking, I will sacrifice myself, it doesn't matter. But what am I doing it for? Everything is a lost cause. I cannot see any course of action that I will do that is going to give me pleasure. In fact, I only see suffering. So my choice is, do I suffer small and now, or do I suffer long in hell or not? That is a choice. He is ultimately seeing this battle as a lose-lose situation, while in fact it is supposed to be a win-win situation. And the reason for this is because we are thinking on a material level. So this dilemma that Arjuna has, it's very extreme. It's very extreme, but it is also very universal. That Gita, the first chapter is only dealing with the battlefield, but now from the next chapter, it rises from the setting of the battlefield to universal principles. And this is what makes the Gita very, very attractive to everyone across all time, places, and ages and circumstances. It's because now the knowledge of the Gita is moving away from the battlefield setting and now into universal principles. And who is showcasing this better than anyone? It's Arjuna himself. Arjuna at the start or at the end of chapter 1, he said that I will not fight. And by the end of the Gita, what does he say? Does he say I will fight?
Do whatever you want.
I will do your will. Karishye vachnam tava. He doesn't say that no, okay, now I will fight. No, now his conclusion is so broad that I will do as you say. Not is not limited to only fighting. No matter what it is, I will do as you say. So although the start of the Gita is in a battlefield setting, at the end of the Gita is a universal message that is applicable to each and every one of us, as shown by Arjuna himself. So this is the whole point of the Gita, that we have now covered chapter 1, and it might look to be very, very contradictory, but actually it hides within it the, the key reason of our problems. And the key reason of our problems is when we are very self-centered. We are only looking for a sense, what is going to benefit me. Thinking selfishly is the cause of us being in this place in the first place. And the rest of the Gita will now show us to become more selfless, and the perfection of selflessness is when you are able to completely sacrifice yourself for Krishna's benefit. So this is now the scene has set. Yeah, chapter 1 has set the scene. Now chapter 2 onwards, now we start understanding the messages of why we should be selfless and why we should be 100% selfless towards who? Towards Krishna. That is now the rest of the Gita. Anyone has any questions? Any comments? Yes,
Today, this is the situation of Arjuna showing our situation, how we can begin the spiritual life.
yes.
So spiritual life, only person can begin when they become frustrated completely in material life, like Arjuna.
Yes.
Arjuna was completely, he wanted to do everything, he wanted to do success. But in success, he saw there is no success. Just I'm wasting my time. So similarly, when the person in the material world, when stop doing this understanding, oh, I will be success, I will be success. When thinking that my success become useless, I cannot enjoy my success. So this is the turning point of entering in the spiritual life to understand Bhagavad Gita. That's why now, after 2-3 words, then Bhagavan will start speaking. Then we can understand. So until unless we cannot come on this platform, if we are wasting my time in this world by doing so many successful work, until unless we cannot understand, we will not begin our spiritual life, we will not understand the words of Krishna. And then second point, like religion, Lord explaining, I have come to establish the religious principle. But in the Bhagavad Gita last in conclusion, he saying you abandon all religious principles. So which religious principle he wanted to establish? That is called transcendental religion, which is to satisfy that words of Krishna, satisfy Krishna's senses, not our senses. That is called transcendental religion. So for the sake of Lord, you will have to ready to do everything. Maybe sin, maybe it looks like pious, maybe impious. But you are ready to do everything like Arjuna. So that is a real conclusion of understanding the Bhagavad Gita.
That's why, sorry, yes, Prabhu.
The more esoteric way is actually very interesting, because if you look at what Iskcon writes about the worship of service, you find that actually this verse here is the illusion and all those Those are actually ecstatic symptoms that the Lord shares with his faithful today. So in a way, it also works for the beginning sadhaka on his journey towards self-realization, but at the same time also it culminates on the highest platform of devotional service when one gets to experience the very rapid of something the Lord.
Very nice. Yeah. No, just to add to Prabhuji's point, even it says in the Bhagavatam, I think, into 1 chapter 8, I think verse number 26, where it is said that Krishna, you are only approachable by those people who are materially exhausted. Materially exhausted. Only those people can approach you very easily. Otherwise, why would anyone want to approach him? Because people are so happy trying to satisfy themselves materially, trying to exploit material nature for their own satisfaction. But only until you understand the fact that you are not going to be ever happy here, and this is why reversals in life are actually such a big blessing in life, because the reversals are like those roadblocks or road bumps. They jolt us from our mindless existence in material life, thinking that everything will be going smooth and rosy. But when a calamity comes, then you're jolted like, wake up, wake up. This is not the place to be. This place is full of misery. This place is full of frustration. So try and look at this as being road bumps. Road bumps are not there to cause more accidents. They are meant for you to become more alert, to become more focused as to, okay, I need to be more inquisitive, a bit more introspective as to what am I doing with my life. Is what I'm doing actually worth it? Is it really going to benefit me long term? And so this world is designed in such a way, just like the example is given, that how would you deduct or deduce that something is working perfectly? Before you can even ask this question, if something is working perfectly, how can I know that this mic is working perfectly? How do I know this? How do I know that this mic is working perfectly? So to answer this question, you have to understand what is the purpose of the mic. The purpose of the mic is to amplify my voice. So if the mic is not doing its purpose, which is amplifying my voice, then I can deduce that this mic is not doing its job perfectly. So extend this metaphor. How do you know that this world is working perfectly? We think it's working perfectly, but to answer or to understand whether the world actually works perfectly, you have to understand what is the purpose of the world. And what is the purpose of the world? The purpose of the world is only one. It's to jolt us out, just like a prison house. How can you understand if a prison house is working perfectly? Well, it will have strong cell doors. Everything will be very, very rigid, very difficult, very disciplined. And if you try to do, if a prisoner tries to do any mischief, he'll quickly be disciplined, right? He'll quickly be smacked or something like that, just to get him in line. So this world has been compared to be like a prison house. And the jailer is called Durga, because the word Durg means prison house, and the jailer is Durga. She's the jailer of this world. So this world is put in such a way that it's like a prison house. Now you cannot expect in a prison house that you can transform your cell into a 5-star hotel room. That is not going to be possible. Yeah, or you're thinking, or you just enter the world and you're thinking, oh, I will have such a nice cuisine, and then you're given such scraps of food when you go there to eat. So all these experiences of this material world are like little slaps on the back of our head that to remind us this place is not the right place for you to enjoy. If you want to enjoy, you have to escape the prison. You have to go to the real world. You cannot expect that the prison house will have all the facilities in the best possible manners that are there outside. No, if you want to escape, then you have to get out of the prison house. And so like that, if we want to actually become happy, transcendentally happy, we cannot do that in this material world, because this is not the domain for it. The domain for it is in the spiritual world. So this metaphor has been given in the Vedas, in the Gita as well, and even by Prabhupada ji.
Simple way, the success of prison is
Reformation.
Prisoner became gentleman has come out. That is success of prison. How many became gentlemen, they have come out. They reduce their punishment and they come out. That is real success.
Yes.
So similarly, to not remain in this prison and going from one prison to another prison.
Yes.
So this material life is like that. So we want to become success in material work, from one prison to another, from one body to another. So the success is to get out from this material world and going there. So only a person can get out from this material real life when they are they come out from illusory life. Then they can go in real life. If somebody is not feeling this word is not fit for me, then how they will enter in the real life? So this is the Arjuna turning point.
Yes.
Arjuna has all success. He is not fearing for he's weak. Prabhupada is saying in the lecture. He's not feeling he's weak. Arjuna was the famous person, victorious in everywhere. So he is not because of that, because he become totally confused. What is it? Even I success, even I defeat everyone, but still I am losing. So this is the real sense. This is when we, after gaining everything, and we realize I lose everything. I have entire life I waste without cultivating the Krishna consciousness. It is the real thing. So this is a turning point. From here, one can start understanding the words of Krishna. When the person is maintained this consciousness. That's why padam padam yad vipadam. In the material world, anything you do, there is a problem. Students wants to study, problem. When they marry, problem. When they do business, problem. Everywhere there is a term and condition. So this is because of that realization. Person has to get each and every step. This is not fit for us. This place is not fit for us. So this is the platform of entering in spiritual.
As
this important. This word is very important word.
As Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, that this place is not fit for a gentleman.
Prabhuji, what you just said, that when it's Krishna's wish, whether you have to do pious, impious, sin, doesn't matter, do everything. Beautiful chapter I read about the youth of Rikashur and Indradev. And Rikashur was a demon. And Krishna gave Indra what to do and how to fight him. Yes, but at that point, it's actually the demon is Indra and Rikashur was the Devta, because he is.
Rikashur was demon.
No, but in the transcendental.
Yes, in talk, understanding.
Yeah, Indra had a desire for material.
Yes.
But Rikashur wanted to go to the spiritual world.
It has nothing to do with any pious, impious.
Yes, and he was completely detached. You know that for Krishna, it's Krishna's will for me to die. I will do my duty and I will die happily, and I want to go.
That is very higher understanding.
Okay. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.